All right, welcome back, everyone. We're live today with our Wednesday crew with Joel and Lauren. And like we've been talking about, we're going to be having a different school member joining us every week. And this week we have Harrison Trey Better 99. So, morning, everyone.
Good
Good morning.
morning.
Hold on, I'm just going to.
Gonna peace out and let's do it. All right.
And then we lost
No,
him.
no, I have
I
to
think
do. I
it's
have to do that to get that blank screen off for some reason. It always does that. So, yeah.
somebody's
So,
giving feedback.
there's any? Yes, I hear feedback. Probably Joel again.
Joel.
Let's see. Are you muted, Joel? Let me check.
Hold on.
Okay, that was mine.
All
All
right.
right. All right. So we're all here. Right on time. Nobody can complain today. But how's it been? So Harrison, like I said, it's been a while, man. You used to be kind of a regular, and you've been kind of caught up with life. Maybe give everyone an update on what you're doing now.
Sure. Yeah, it's I was rolling along, and then yeah, have a now 1-year-old daughter who's been amazing, but also taking all my time. I've also changed jobs, so that also took a lot of time away from me. But it doesn't mean that I've not been semi-involved in the background and everything. I've been excited to sit in on the lives. I just couldn't be on the lives, but I've yeah been having a lot of analysis. Well, I don't want to say analysis paralysis, but I've been really trying to find the next property, and I've been a part of the school group, which I've been excited about, and that's kind of leading to what today's topic's about.
Yeah, maybe refresh everyone's memory. Where are you at? Where do you invest? And maybe what your
Sure,
portfolio looks like right now.
sure. I am just finishing my second year in Akron, Ohio. I own a duplex side by side. And now, because of the huge boom in Cleveland and Akron last year, I I sat on my hands and was waiting for everyone to kind of buy and see what's going on this year. And I've actually pivoted to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's only a few hours away from my initial buy box, and so it's not too far out of bounds of what I'm looking for. And excited that I'm actually under contract. So we'll see how that goes, and I'm really hoping that this next property will be kind of the kick in the pants I need for moving faster, or at least being more aggressive on finding newer properties.
Yeah, and just to update everyone, you going under contract, I think, happened after we actually even scheduled this live stream,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that's
it
pretty
did.
cool.
So,
Yeah, we can touch on that even if you're going too fast or what. But
yeah.
Joel, Lauren, do you guys have any thoughts? Because Harrison mentioned analysis paralysis. He's kind of in this phase of, is he moving too fast, too slow? Like, how do you determine that? So maybe Joel, you can touch on that from, even a lot of the people you talk with, right? Like on
hmm
the lending side, like what do you
Mhm.
see?
Well, I think the biggest thing, if you look at the amount of people that are putting offers on deals and saying no, the ability to say no, I think is so important, especially in this environment. And I've had a number of clients go under contract on multiple portfolios and packages and single properties at a time, and then go through inspections and then get out of the deal. The sellers just weren't willing to negotiate how they wanted to. Now, on the flip side, some have, but I think the ability to say no is so important, and having a deal make sense is so important. So, analysis paralysis. I mean, the reason I bring that up is that you're not alone. There's so many people that are sitting because it's hard to find deals that will pencil out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you did bring up a really good point, which is like even the practice of going under contract, even if it doesn't close, is a good step in the direction of getting out of analysis paralysis and getting through inspections. Because really, you don't really know a property until you do the inspection. So it's good to even just get under contract and then go from there. And there's always a chance to get out during the inspection period.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
I think that was one of the reels I actually just shared recently of Lauren talking about, getting it under contract is one of maybe a skill, right? Just to get it under contract. And then right now, actually, Harrison is going through the inspection period, right? So that's the next phase. And then you can still have the option to back out or walk away if you choose. But yeah, I mean, maybe Harrison, you can also touch on, is it because you're changing markets, or just in general, do you think analysis kind of paralysis type of thing in general overall?
It's a great question because I would say looking at the properties, it was looking at for my first property, it was definitely a value add. I bought it, no problem. I knew I'd need to put about 15-20,000 into it. Did it, no problem, and it ended up becoming a home run. It's other than that, it's kind of left itself alone. And so I was like, okay, well, I have the eye, and everything in Akron is not making sense. And I mean, whether it be the price or the price to fix. And that's what made me go to Pittsburgh. And I was kind of doing the same thing. I mean, I did make offers for saying, hey, based on these numbers here, this is what I'm willing to offer you. But it was still a lot of wish pricing I had to go through for folks. They were saying, oh, well, I need this number. It's like, you bought this house for half that. And so I think that was more of my year. It was trying to say, I need these deals to pencil out at least. And that was where I got stuck. Was it because I saw a lot of people in other channels that were saying, it doesn't matter. I bought it this way. It's my deal. I'm going to wait the 10 years. That's fine. So it's kind of like, am I doing this wrong? So I think that's where I'm like, is it too fast or too slow? Am I being too conservative in how I'm moving?
What made you decide to go to Pennsylvania?
Yeah. So it was just the speed. It was one of those where when I bought in Akron, it was the perfect timing. There was still a little pushback I could make, or the seller needed to make concessions so I could do the builds. When I was ready for my next one, it was a white hot. It was the issue of people coming from all over the country saying, hey, if I just paint over this wallpaper, I could sell it for 30,000 more. Catch is that most of the market couldn't afford these kinds of rents or even purchase the prices. And that's what's happening right now, is that a lot of bad flippers are way over buying these houses, and they're trying to make their money back. I'm just like, if I even buy this at what you bought it for, I'm still going to have to put a lot of equity or a lot of cash into this house to fix it up. So I'm just like, this isn't penciling out for me. I'm out for right now. I'm letting that market kind of cook itself, so to speak. And Pittsburgh, at least, I mean, there's a lot of different areas that you could buy cash flowing. And I'm going for a single family. This was out of my realm. I was like, I usually do multifamily duplexes. That's all I look at. And then this single family was like, well, it's good enough. It works. So I'm going for that.
So does that mean that you're buying this as an outright investment property, rental property, or are you moving?
Yeah. No, this is an outright rental property. Okay. Going back on that for my next ones, I'm actually looking to move and then house hack from that point on. To rent out my current primary, because I'm like, okay, let's kind of speed it up here. That's where I'm like, hang on, am I moving too fast? So,
well, one of the things, excuse me, in terms of margin for error, right? Like, if you're pencil out a deal and your cash flow is like $400 a month after all expenses, like there isn't a whole lot of margin for error if you're trying to be able to make your payments and any major repairs come up, etc. But on the flip side, when you house hack, I mean, there's a lot more margin for error because you're just trying to be able to have some of the other rents offset your mortgage payment because you're going to be renting anyway. So then let time work for you a couple years down the road, then rents go up and maybe you move out of it and then it becomes a full-time rental. So like in terms of just margin for error, I guess I kind of direct this more at Lauren. The deal that you had put together in Florida, like how far out of the box did it get? Like how would you quantify the deal working versus not working?
The price that I had offered on was based off the fact that they said, this place is turnkey. They're investors. They do a beautiful job. My agent had told me that as well, and she's worked with them, and I trust her. She obviously hadn't seen the property in a few years. She had seen it when they bought it and first renovated it, and now it had tenants in it, and so nothing bad about her judgment, but they had not upkept the property, and it was like to the point where there was like rot one of the units was infested with cockroaches. All the insulation had been eaten by animals in the attic. Like there was issues with trees growing into the septic that they hadn't dealt with. Branches, like there were just too many things that had happened over time. And honestly, I think it was probably like $100,000 in renovations that
Wow.
were previously not stated, or I guess like misled on like how turnkey the property was. So it was probably about $100,000 over price. Yeah, over the price that I would have paid.
Damn, that's a pretty big difference.
It's a pretty, yeah, that one was like, not worth it. Yeah, because it was like, it was only really penciling because I was gonna put 40% down, but even at that, putting another 100,000, it just didn't make sense. And that was really, I was thinking like long-term play, over time appreciation, not even thinking really about like cash flow too much. So yeah, so that one was like, that's maybe a bad example for what you're talking about, because it was so far outside the box.
Joe V is saying you should have charged the roaches rent. But just reminding everyone, Joel and Lauren are also streaming live right now, so you can jump over there. I'm not sure, Lauren, did you do your interview with Chris? What's your next thing coming out?
I did, yes. It'll be out this Friday.
I also see Andy here. Andy has a new YouTube channel, Lane 5. It's about faith, fitness, and family. So go check it out. He just came out with his second video. So he's putting himself out there. And Jovi likes this idea, I guess, on our Wednesdays, bringing on a new guest, a new school member. So we're actually, I don't know if
Where'd you get that idea from?
Well, I guess I'll give you some credit once in a while, but I think it's good to have an extra guest because that way when you don't show up or when you show up late, I have someone else on with me. But but we're actually we're lined up for like the next 5 weeks. We have like five different people coming on. But
That's
unfortunately,
cool.
they're all men. So hopefully we can get some ladies in the school community that want to jump on. But actually, the ladies of ORAD is going on right now, so maybe that's why it's hard to get any of them on. But Hyder will be on next week with us. He'll be joining us on Wednesday. But Harrison, I know you sent me this kind of question topic that you wanted to dig into, right? But is there a reason why? I mean, you're thinking about it. That's why if you're moving too fast, or are you seeing other people do certain things and you're kind of questioning the moves you're making?
Well, it's one of those where I'm trying to figure out, well, I want to retire in the next 12 years. I think that's the idea of, okay, so, and going through Grok and everything like that. It says, oh, if you buy a property or two every year and get 22 properties, you'll be retired. I was like, oh, that's exactly what Mark has. That's interesting. But no, it's one of those where I'm trying to figure out, because Zuber was saying you need to have 2x cash flow to retire, so to speak, for your rentals. And I'm like, okay, at 4, I'll be at, like, once they're fully paid off, at what what my monthly is. So it's like, okay, but I need to go to 8 doors. And then when, it's kind of, all right, if I want to do some seasoning on these, should I buy faster? Or should I just kind of keep it one step at a time and then just let the cash flow build up that way? It's one of those, it's because it's like with Frank, he's bought more properties at lower cash flow because he knew that he needed to retire sooner. I have the benefit of some extra time, but I also want to make sure that, I'm working, like, I'm trying to make sure like I have enough runway to go into that retirement. That's where this is coming from.
All right. I do want Josh Burdick is also giving Joel credit. He said this is a cool new series. I like getting to know all the ORAD peeps. So yes, Josh,
Okay.
I'll give Joel some credit. And Joel V says he got to talk to Joel this week. He's great talking with him. So this is like Joel's hype team over here showing up.
Nice.
Hey, would you expect anything less?
But maybe so Lauren, if you were to look back on your journey so far, would you say you have gone too fast maybe or too slow? And then we'll ask Joe that after.
I mean, it's hard to say, really. I wouldn't say necessarily too fast because I haven't had there's been no downside to the speed at which I've gone. And in fact, I would say, if anything, you always think I should have started sooner. That's kind of what I think. And then I'm like, man, if I had started sooner and I owned properties during that period of low interest rates, I really could have capitalized on that. But you know what you know at the time that you know it. And so, I don't know if quantifying too fast or too slow is beneficial for me, because I just went at the speed that I went at. And I think if you are learning every step of the way, that's really all you can ask for.
Joe, what about you? Too fast, too slow?
No, I look at it a little bit differently, more of kind of going back to like the infrastructure of the markets and the, the ebbs and the flows and the cycles. I mean, we're in a cycle right now that is completely different than 2020 and 21. And it kind of feels like 2016 or 2015 where things are just so slow. And the people that are maybe feeling like it's slow, really, it's an opportunity to continue to do the other things. It's like, buying a property is the action event, but all the work that's in between is what gets you prepared for that next purchase. And so all the work that you're doing to network and build skills and knowledge and also increase income and save more money and all those things, I think, are the things that happen in between the purchases. And so to me, it's like, okay, well, if this is a slow time for somebody personally, that's okay, because hopefully you're working on other things in the meantime. And then when things ebb and flow and you find the right deal, then maybe the floodgates open as more opportunities come. So, I mean, that's the one thing, is like, once you get into the game, opportunities will open. It's just a matter of time. It's just getting into the game, that first one.
I do see Jan tuning in from Lauren's channel. She's in Washington. A lot of news coming out of Washington State recently. The income tax, I don't know if did it pass, like officially passed? I think it did, right? I think it officially passed. They're gonna have an income tax on $1 million income or something, or so there is a lot of people talking about. So that's one big reason why Dion is looking to leave. He already has his duplex on the market, and he's looking at 3 different areas. I believe he's going to be in Tennessee in the near future to
was it like a 9% tax? Is that what that was?
Like 9.9% or something, right? And then like everyone kind of feels, right, like this is the start. And as people start leaving, they're gonna be like, well, we're not collecting the amount that we may need. Now let's go a little bit lower and see how much we can tax people. So a big reason why Dion's relocating. I even believe Justin Cameron now is talking about this is something he's going to start really thinking about. Well, that's where his business primarily is, but he's going to probably start looking into a little bit further. Is there any red flags, like Joe as a lender? Any red flags you see when they reach out to you? Would you say, maybe, I know you can't, you probably don't give them advice, but you would see as a red flag as someone possibly moving too fast?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. I'll try to leave as many specifics out, but somebody that bought their first property, which is cool. It was a squeeze to get them into the first one in terms of just debt to income ratios and cash available. And they, used the HELOC on their primary residence to be able to help bridge the gap of the cash flow or the down payment. And then about 4 months, and this is like a lake home, right? So like Airbnb type of home. And then the second, they're already talking about wanting to buy the next one, and they have no money saved. And so they're out there knocking on doors trying to find creative financing deals, which is also fine and dandy, because they want to be able to accelerate the process and get the next one. But to me, it's like, okay, I feel like you need to be spending more time on trying to increase your income before we get down this pathway. Credit card debt building up is another red flag that can happen. Balances on credit cards can lower scores, etc. So I don't know. Those are just a couple red flags.
What about you, Lauren?
Makes me ask.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, I was just gonna say is so do you feel like that for the next purchases that investors should be a little bit more conservative for each purchase that they do after that point? Like, I mean, like have less risk per next deal.
I mean, I think that makes sense because like your first one, a lot of people are just trying to be able to make it happen, get into the game, and so take the training wheels off, and maybe it's not the perfect deal just because you just want to get into the game, get in and think about it later. And once you have more experience, and yeah, hopefully you'll be a little bit more conservative on how you analyze the deal. But I mean, it just depends in all reality.
Jason is saying, missed you this year in Vegas, Harrison. So Harrison was going to attend. He had to cancel at the last minute. But honestly, you could tell Jason that you did talk to him and he probably wouldn't even remember.
Yeah.
Justin Cambra was saying something. I think Justin Cambra had a virtual meetup for his camera real estate on Monday, and he was telling Jason, "Oh yeah, I remember talking to you." And Jason's like, "I don't even remember talking to him." So there's a few times Jason was it's kind of drank a little bit, but now flipping that now. So Lauren, is there any signs, or maybe you would say someone is moving too slow, like when maybe talking to another investor or seeing what they're doing, and touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, and I think speed depends a little bit on where you are in your life, your age, your strategy, and I think um, working backwards from like your goal can help you determine what speed you need to be going. Of course, you never want to get a bad deal. It's better to take a little more time and do a little more analysis and get a better deal because a lot of the money is made on the purchase. But it comes down to just really being honest with yourself and going and being like, okay, am I holding myself back because I'm afraid? Or am I holding myself back truly because there isn't a good deal, and do I need to shift markets or do something different to change? Like I think it just takes a bit of self-awareness to know like if the speed that we're going is right for us, or if we need to make a change. So I think everything in real estate, there's so much psychology that a lot of it comes back to psychology and self-awareness.
Well, Harrison, maybe you can touch on this before. Josh Burdick is asking, do you think 50% debt across all your properties is a good metric?
I would say probably by that's where I was kind of going, is that I think probably by the time you get to that upper tier of the properties that you want to retire to, that once you're at that 50% level, you have a lot less worries, you have a lot less items keeping you up at night, especially if anything breaks and you have a larger portfolio. I think it's a great number. And that's actually what I'm targeting.
Joel, any thoughts on that?
So like 50% loan to value, like
Yeah.
the debt to the value.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great number to be at. And then coming back to Lauren's point about strategy too, like some people then will tap in and pull equity out to buy the next one. But if you can get to the next one without having to pull equity out along the way, like that's a great place to be. But then that comes back to kind of the cash flowing business, or developing your income streams and to be able to make things happen, or maybe even creative financing. But yeah, if you can not tap into the equity along the way, I mean that's a great place to be. I've done it along the way personally to buy the next deal, and 9 times out of 10 it's worked out great.
Yeah, I think
But the 1 out of 10 sometimes can hurt really bad. So
yeah. Well, I think that goes back to what Lauren was touching on also, right? Is where it's where you're at in your journey, and just a lot of it is just what you're comfortable with, right? I mean, some people are fine having 50% loan to value on their properties and they're comfortable with that. There's others where it's almost like maybe it's burning a hole, and they're anxious, right? So it's I think it's a great place to be, and just having same thing. It's just like it's having options, right? But I also think it's also like Lauren talked about earlier, it's kind of maybe knowing the end goal and then working backwards, right? And so, if you're comfortable, if you've hit your goal, then there may be no need to take on any more risk on the table now, right? Or, if you have a few paid off, so maybe it's 50%, but your portfolio is it's not just straight 50% on every property. Maybe you have some that are paid off, maybe some that have a little bit more. So the overall might be 50, but you do have some in your back pocket that are completely paid off, and those are kind of like just your safety net, right? So a lot of ways to look at it, but yeah, I definitely think 50% would be a great place to be, and I think it does give you flexibility if you get that itch and you want to maybe go shopping, and that's what kind of Zuber's doing, right? I think he was saying on one of his most recent videos, he was around 40% LTV, and he just did a big cash out refi, and I think he said maybe $6 or $1 million of dry powder to now go shopping, right? And I don't know, maybe he's doing it because people were calling him out on the Ryan Pineda video, right? Saying like, well, why are you telling people real estate works and you haven't bought anything in 2-3 years, right? So I don't know, maybe he's getting some dry powder to just go shopping and show people that you still can find cash flowing properties today. So we'll see. Hey, Nick's here. Bitcoin Nick, I'll see you this Saturday. Yeah, Yasik says, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So to that point, would you rather make 5 small mistakes quickly or spend 5 years waiting for the perfect deal? Harrison.
So I'm number one. I would rather just make the mistakes and then fix them fast. I would point towards the fact of I can recover from this. There's nothing. I mean, I feel like with waiting 5 years, that's 5 years of lost opportunity. And I mean, and for me, it's just going back to like how I'm investing is that I don't have a very lavish lifestyle, so I can put a lot of dry powder towards a lot of more properties and move faster. And I'm okay making those mistakes. And it's like with this new property, if it's not perfect, I'll be like, well, if it's good enough, I'm okay with that. I don't need a perfect property.
Sure. Joel, what about you?
My head just blanked. I don't know.
Lauren, you want to jump in?
I mean, yeah, I think anyone would be crazy if they said wait 5 years to find the perfect property, because I don't even think a perfect property exists. Like, every property that, even if it's great, it's going to come with unexpected issues or things that you might not have been aware of. So yeah, I don't know if there is such thing as perfect property, and 5 years is a really long time to be waiting to find that. So, and I think anyone's strategy is going to be to buy more than one property in 5 years.
I know what I was going to say. So this goes back to one of Lauren's posts where people were kind of talking trash about like saying, oh, that Lauren was lucky because she bought at the right time or some BS. And it's like one of the commenters had like, all these paragraphs of all the things that was lucky. And then at the end, it's like, yeah, and then I'll buy my first property in a couple of years when things died down. Or like, okay, so you're just out there commentating without any type of like actual experience. So it's just like, I don't know, get in the game and see what happens.
Bitcoin Nick makes a great point. Lead Prehado. Go check out his YouTube channel. He's putting out daily content. He's even doing book reviews too now. So I think he just did one on Michael Zuber's One Rental at a Time book review. But a lot of people may not know, he actually built a lot of his wealth up in real estate first, and then he transitioned that over to Bitcoin. But he does say cash flowing property is a tricky statement because basically everything can cash flow with more down payment. Also, those higher rates Zuber is taking out must be worth what he sees ahead. Yeah, I think part of that too is at some point rates almost don't matter for a lot of people that have a lot of wealth. Or I mean, of course it matters, but for them, it doesn't impact them very much as far as like he's like Nick is touching on. They can put down a bigger down payment, to make it cash flow more. But to that point, talking about basically anything can cash flow. Do you think that's also why people have analysis paralysis? Is because they're playing with the numbers or they're analyzing properties, and they're trying to either make it work because they're trying to find a property that cash flows. But do you think some people are making it harder than it has to be to some extent? So Harrison, is that what you're seeing in yourself analyzing properties, looking at deals? I know you're an AI guy also. Are you thinking AI is holding you back or helping you analyze properties?
Ooh. I would say it's helping. It's one of those where I know I'm not putting 40% down. I know it'll help cash flow certain areas, but it's also helped me avoid markets. That's the big thing with it. Looking at what kind of job, and that's been the great thing about a lot of the AIs I've been using, is looking for the strength of the market, looking for potential pitfalls that I might not be thinking about. And you're saying, some people might say, oh, this is extra analysis paralysis. I'm like, no, this is looking for the next 30 years because I'm a buy and hold. I'm looking for how can this city grow? And if AI can't even say, like, I use Grok, I use Gemini as kind of balancing each other. And excuse me, if they can't make that work, that's where I'm kind of like, okay, well, at least the initial portion's over. And it saves a lot of me putting in numbers of houses and making poor mistakes on wasted time.
Lauren, any thoughts on analyzing properties, trying to make it cash flow using AI to? Is it good or bad? Do you think? Well, not good or bad, I should say, but do you think it might be holding people up when analyzing properties or helping them analyze properties?
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like AI hopefully is helping people. I remember like before AI, everybody was like giving away their free property calculators. You don't really see that very often anymore. I think because AI is a property calculator and you can input the things that you want and all the information you have and it can analyze it. But I mean, I've used AI for sure and it is very valuable, but at the same time, it makes assumptions that if I didn't know what I know, I wouldn't know to be like, oh wait, you're basing this on a false assumption. So I think use it wisely, be careful to question where it's getting its numbers and its data and if there are gaps and things like that. But it's a great tool and I think everybody should use it. There are many ways to use it as well. So it's not just for analyzing the property. So yeah, I think it's a great tool. I would encourage people to use it with a grain of salt.
Joel, your thoughts? I know you can even add in, like, maybe you may not want to touch on it, but do you think loan officers in 5-10 years, is AI going to replace your field, right? Because I saw a lot of X posts on X talking about
Mhm.
how people are just punching in numbers or whatever, and then
I mean, I'm surprised that it's not already more of a thing, to be fair. Like, I mean, there's a lot because there's all these different systems that we have to look at and use and then integrate them all together. And so it's just not that far-fetched to be able to have one system that integrates all these different tools and CRMs and guidelines on down payment programs, guidelines on HELOCs and non-QM and all that. It's all there. So I don't know. It's I mean that's why I'm a top 1% podcaster, because I knew that my job was gonna be gone. So I'll make my $400 on Facebook in a year and I'll be good to go.
And I also put Joel's newsletter in the chat. So if you
Yeah.
haven't signed up for his newsletter, go check that out. I'm going to go on record saying I think AI is holding people back. I'm going to go on record and say I
Oh,
think
okay.
it's giving people too much information. Coming out with all these spreadsheets and templates and analyzing all these things. And I kind of look at it, you know, um, like let's say baseball, and you're in the batter's box, and you have a split second to make a decision between the pitcher releasing the ball, and you have to make this decision if it's a ball straight, and am I gonna swing, right? And you can go through all these pregame stats, and on this count he's going to throw this pitch or look for this spin rate and this velocity, right? And it's helpful. It definitely can help you, but at the same time, it's still see ball, hit ball, right? It's still a simple game, and I think even me and Zuber talked about it. Lance Lambert, if people don't know the Resi Housing Club, he put out this post on X that was completely different than kind of what he usually talks about, and he was talking about basically like basketball. It's still, put the ball in the basket. Nothing's changed. Act fast, move fast. It's simple, right? And it seems like people are trying to make it a lot harder.
Can I just add on to that? Like in my job, as a loan officer, you're selling, marketing, analyzing operations, all these different things. But like at the end of the day, AI, it can maybe help you organize data better. It can help you do some maybe automated outreach type stuff. But at the core of this job, though, it's building relationships and communication. And AI, I mean, it can do those phone calls, but like people know it's AI, well, sometimes. But like at the end of the day, it's still getting on the phone and talking to people, or you're responding and analyzing situations and problem solving. AI can, save 20-25% of your job, but still the core of the job is intercommunication. And like I said, put the ball in the net, see ball, hit ball. It's still the basics is still what wins.
Steven from the Bronx is asking, do you ever second guess yourself? A property didn't pencil out for me, yet it went pending a week later. Did I miss something, or did that buyer miss something? Harrison, what do you have? Any thoughts on that?
I always assume the buyer missed something. It's one of those where if I can't make it work, I put an obscene amount of work into looking at the house, penciling the numbers, seeing what kind of fixes that it will need. I'm like, dude, go for it. I just don't need to compete with you for the next property. That's how it's always been for me.
Lauren, any thoughts on what Steven's asking?
Oh, I mean, houses, especially if it's like a single family home, like someone may be willing to pay more because it's next door to their child, or like there's all of these intangible things that we don't know that factor into what someone is willing to pay for a property. So I think as an investor, we just have to assume that maybe there was something else that they saw a benefit for them, or maybe they just have a lot of cash and they need to put it into a property this year, or like there's financial situations, like extenuating circumstances, like one can really never know why something has gone pending or what the allure was for that buyer. So yeah, I don't, it doesn't make me question myself though. Like I'm not going like, oh man, did I miss something? I'm like, there's definitely something that I don't know. And that's fine.
Joe, any thoughts?
Yeah,
on that?
I mean, like I saw people, especially on the higher end apartment buildings, whether it be quadplexes or 5 units and above, trying to go hunt deals because they wanted to be able to fit that purchase in for the tax year to have the cost seg, the accelerated depreciation, the bonus depreciation for that calendar year. So yeah, people hunting and probably overpaying for some buildings, or not getting as big of a discount as you probably want to. But like the tax purposes also comes into play, especially the higher the price of the building.
I'm going to say you missed something. Nah, well, I would just say it's also what you're comfortable with, what your buy box is, like they would say, but also like, are you, going back to AI, like, are you analyzing things with too much data points? Are you putting too much information in, and that's why it's not penciling? Like kind of to my earlier point, I feel like sometimes people are talking themselves out of deals, and they're I know everyone wants to put a certain amount aside for capex and things like that, but that's if you have enough reserves, then the capex may not be or have to be as high when you're calculating property, right? It also comes down to how much overall reserves you may have. So if this property fits everything else, right, in your buy box is, maybe it's a great area, separate utilities or what, and it fits all these other checkpoints, then maybe you have this capex number that you usually use or percentage, but knowing that you have this much reserves, maybe the property's on the newer side, or maybe it was built after a certain, there's a lot of other factors in there, right? So you can't be so strict with the numbers to some extent, which, I mean, certain numbers can be a little bit changed, right, based on the property itself. But and I think I would go back to kind of earlier what we were talking about is sometimes it's just best to get it under contract, right? And you can always back away, because that's how you're really going to know if you missed something, right? So maybe there was something that, like someone else in their head, they can say, oh, I can turn this into a bedroom, right, to increase the value of, or something, right? But you really won't know that until you actually get under contract and maybe get a chance to do an inspection and walk through, right? So if it fits a lot of your criteria, then sometimes you just got to act on it and then make a decision once you get more information. But this is funny. Cody Evers says, I realized a couple of days ago, my property manager and I were just responding to each other using AI. Just had to laugh at it because where will any, oh yeah, where will any human connections be in 10 years? I'm realizing I should use it less. Yeah. I think that's kind of to Joel's point, right? At this, it's pretty easy to win today. A lot of times, if you're just willing to make that call or have that human interaction, right? Because so much things that AI generated, it's impossible to get people on the phone nowadays, right? That if you just put yourself out there a little bit and make that call, a lot of times it's going to be uh, an easy win, I think. This is a great one for Harrison. Hyder is asking, is paid AI worth it, or are free versions good enough for most tasks?
I would say free versions are good enough. It's one of those, if you're just doing basic computation, basic just question and answer, you're going to do fine. It depends on the model that you're using. I would say if you're looking for more up-to-date news, I would use Grok. If you're looking for more infographics or some, if you're making PowerPoints or something, I recommend Gemini. I'm always the last one to recommend ChatGPT for anything. I will be the one to say no ChatGPT. But I think free is good enough. I'm actually making my own local system because I realized I need a second brain. I've got too much going on, too much in the way. And shout out to Trisha from SKOOL. That's what she's recommending. Do that. It's one of those, if you can kind of set everything aside, make it searchable, you can find things that you missed, even though you might have heard it. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's, once again, free, but you just have to have the hardware for it.
Do either of you have a thought or opinion on paid AI, or is free AI good enough for most everyday tasks?
I don't know enough, honestly, about AI to be speaking on what other people, how they should be using it. I'm definitely not an AI expert by any means. So I'll leave that to you guys.
Yeah, we don't want to put too much on your plate. You just got your channel off the ground, so we don't want
Just barely. If AI could do that for me, then I would be advocating for it more.
Well, Harrison, there's all this like chatter on socials about Claude and Claude bots and
I don't know if it's OpenClaw. Yeah.
So I only really use chat. So with Gemini, I do use Grok as well.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff I don't really know much about, or the differences.
Yeah, OpenClaw is just it's a tool that's used for essentially giving your computer access to do whatever. It's like, hey, I want you to search all the deals and go for it, and like bring back all the information that you want. And it's like conversations through text apps or stuff like that. Or if you're like, hey, make sure you check and pay my taxes. Problem with OpenClaw is that it has a mind of its own, where it will disregard you and say, let's, put $1 million that you don't have into F.I.R.E coin, and let's, go for it. So it's not perfect, but there's a lot of potential that it has.
Yeah, I think that's the one
That's insane.
hesitation people have, right? Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it gets access to so much information, and that's kind of where people is kind of like, oh, okay, I don't mind AI, but that's where I draw the line, and so that's
Right.
just where you got what your comfort level. Hugo Stay Winnings, I believe he's coming from Lauren's channel, maybe, but he says paid AI is worth it. Cody Ever says, "What's the difference for paid AI? What extra does it bring?" I don't know. You kind of touch on a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah. So the great thing about paid AI is that, especially for like Grok, you're getting the latest news. You're getting the most reasoning and thinking models. So it's one of those where if you ask it a question, you're just saying, "Hey, what's the temperature?" Grok would be like, "Hey, temperature in Mali is 89 degrees Fahrenheit." But you're like, but now with like the newer models, it's like, "Oh, based on your location, you're here. Look at the humidity." It'll give you like a whole breakdown of everything that you need. It's like I said, for a lot of people, it's overkill, but for folks that are very interested, and then also for a lot of items, it gives you more compute power. So if you're having a consistent conversation, it's like, "Hey, I like Pittsburgh. Tell me about this borough," and then it just kind of goes down. It'll max out like at a conversation at what they'll call a number of tokens, at like 250,000 for some, a million for others, and then all of a sudden the conversation will stop and the model won't know what you're doing. But if you continue with that, like if you do the paid, it'll be like, "Oh, we'll go beyond this and continue the conversation for you." So that's really the justification. If you have like just an ongoing thought process or an ongoing conversation that you want to have.
Somebody told me that they use paid AI because they input information that is like sensitive information for their business. And when you do paid AI, you can make it so that it doesn't keep and save that information, making it like accessible to the general public. Versus if you're using the free version, then that information is being put out there. So I don't know if that's true or not, but somebody told me that.
It depends. So if you're talking about ChatGPT, they say that, but because of a New York law, they have to keep everything on file. So it can be searchable still. So that's why it's one of those where you have to be careful about where you. That's why it's the push for having local large language models on your premises. That's the most secure way on how to do it. It's just making sure it doesn't have access to the internet, making sure it can just process what you need to do it. I mean, that's the safest way on how to do it, even if you're paying for it. So,
I want to go back just a little bit to kind of Steven's earlier question about if he missed something. Charles McCune does say it might be offer fast and negotiate later. Lead Prejado Nick also says, Steven, they might be house hacking or putting more money down. Could be a primary residence. Yeah, so there's a lot of different things there.
right.
Where was the other? Let's see. I wish. Oh, Yasik says, I wish you couldn't go back before technology. Life seems so much simpler and seems like people actually enjoyed life more. Yeah. So that's the funny thing, right? I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking AI is going to make things easier, right? But then at the same time, is it just allowing you to do more, right? So you have more on your plate because a lot of other things are being now taken off your plate, but now new stuff is being on your plate, right? So it'd be interesting to see. But I think definitely, yeah. I mean, AI is going to be a big part of things, and you do have to at least have some knowledge and use of it. And I think that's why Andy Lane 5 wants to give a hats off to Harrison. He's the one introduced me to AI. The only downside I found with the free version, after so many inputs, uploads, picture graphs, is limited, and you go to timeout. Yep. Hugo wants to
Yeah,
do
I
a
guess what Yasik was saying, it's kind of funny. I feel like now that I've been using more AI, it's allowed me to not look at my phone. It's like if I get alerts, if I get this, it's like, is it truly important? If I can just swipe off, not important. It gives me more time with my family. That's what I've really enjoyed. Is that a lot of the reason why I've not been around is that I've just been disconnected, spending family time, and I've first year, so there's a lot of items needed. So I think you can find a way to disconnect, which I enjoy.
Yeah, to Yasik's point that tools should make life simpler, actually making everything more complicated. I think that's going to be the big thing with AI, right? There's going to be a pain point where there's going to be a lot of jobs that may be taken away, I guess, or AI is going to replace it.
Right.
But at the same time, I think AI is going to bring a lot of different jobs out there, right? There's going to be new things, more things people can do. So just like anything, it's going to be a time over time, but definitely is going to probably be a period where be a little bit of pain. Ah, yes. Charles says talking about Ken McElroy said Frank is smart. So I'm not sure if you saw Ken McElroy had a little short clip, video, reel, or whatever you want to call it, but he said single family homes are the best investment to start with. And he also in that video he kind of touched about that one of his friends. So some of the things he talks about is, single family home. You have so many things you can do: short-term rental, rent by the room. You can house hat. Different people, investors, people, primary residents. So you have so many options and strategies there. And one of the things he also touched on was you can invest in different markets fairly easily, right? So you can invest in multiple markets to diversify yourself. So a lot of us in our community know that Frank is in multiple markets, and sometimes he's always catching a little heat about why are you in so many markets, right? Instead of just kind of niching down, where I've kind of niched down in one market. Other people have niched down in one market, but Frank is investing in multiple markets. And Lauren, you're, like we say, we always joke about, you're kind of just everywhere, right? So it can work, right? I mean, and especially like talking about AI, it does give you a lot of resources and information so that you can be more familiar. I can see like maybe 20 years ago, it'd be difficult to invest in so many different markets because you just don't have the resources. But today, there's so much information out there. So like for you, Lauren, do you ever feel uncomfortable that like we always kind of joke about it, that you're kind of just like this butterfly that's just different projects, different things going on, different markets?
No, I mean, to each their own, I also am like very mobile. Like it's not hard for me to fly to Florida and check on things. Like I was just in California last week. Like I am always kind of like moving around, migrating, and honestly, that's the lifestyle that I want. Like I like having properties in different places because it keeps me connected and tied to those places that I want to be. Exactly. Butterflies are nice. Everybody loves a butterfly. So no, I mean, it's to each their own. Oh, sorry, my acoustics. But yeah, I think, you just got to do what works for you and your investment strategy.
Joel, like I said, probably talking to a lot of people reaching out for loans daily. Do you see those that may niche down in one market having better results, or do you see a lot of people coming to you and they're in multiple markets that they're investing in?
I mean, I think it's more common to be more, hyper focused on one location. As but like some of the clientele that I work with are military, so you might have somebody who buys a property, lives in it, PCS is to the next city, and then they have that as a rental, and then you do that a few times. So that is a common thing that I see personally. But like also, Mark, we're talking about that conversation on Mark or no Ken and Frank about single families being the best way to start. I reacted because I was like, well, technically, like buying a multifamily as a primary residence is probably the best way to start. But that's just logistics. But yeah, I mean, I do see it here and there where people will do multiple markets, but most of the people that I see are really going to be focused on one market.
To your point, right? I think that's why a lot of people kind of chuckle every time when they hear Ken McElroy and Grant Cardone, always saying like, oh, if you don't have 100 units or whatever, don't talk to me, or you're not worthy, kind of thing, right? But then if you look at it, it's kind of like, well, you guys both probably started in single family homes, right? I mean, that's kind of probably what got you in the game.
Mhm.
And so I think for a lot of people, they almost don't see that anymore, right? You only see these end results, and then people start jumping into these different strategies or thinking bigger is better. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of people respect about Zuber is his. I mean, as much as people may bash on Dave Ramsey, also, right? But his message has never changed, right? Dave Ramsey has stuck to his message, and that's what he believes in. And not everyone may believe it or agree with it, but he hasn't changed. I don't know. I mean, what, 30 years maybe? Dave Ramsey's been saying the same thing, and I think that's what Michael Zuber, um, is trying to do also, right? Keep his message simple, and he's not changing from it, right? He's basically saying one rental at a time. All you need is four. Get to four, and if you want to do more, then great. But for a lot of people, four will definitely improve your retirement, right?
Okay, wait, I put headphones in. Is it better acoustic wise?
I don't know. Don't even worry about it. I don't know. It is what it is.
Mhm.
Anything else you guys want to touch on this? You guys want any direction you guys want to go? I know
Quick
I
thought.
haven't. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no. The only thing was, so Zuber had his daily financial news this morning talking about how build to rent may go away. Would there be a loophole that I think could be a new housing boom? Is small multifamilies, like if people are building triplexes and quadplexes, and they're like, "Hey, I'm moving into here. Can I rent these other out?" I'm just throwing that, spitballing that out
So
there.
is there a law going into place, or what is that about?
So
Yeah,
I brought that
apparently.
up yesterday, and Brandon's like, "No, they're not doing." Well, anyways, Brandon didn't. So yeah, so it's something that's they're talking about on this build to rent strategy. That I don't know if it's the same one that I brought up, but either they're gonna put restrictions on it, or what I heard originally was you can do build to rent, but after so many years, it would have to be sold. So
Right.
I don't think you could hold it as a long term rental or investment property. So I don't know if people would still be doing that model, right? So Zuber's talking about, like, if you put these restrictions, then now you're going to limit the housing supply because people are not going to put these rentals on the market, possibly, right? So, but yeah, so same thing, right? I'm from the government and I'm here to help, right?
Yeah.
So what were you? So sorry, what were you saying, Harrison? As a new strategy for
So
that?
yeah, as a new strategy, it's like, hey, I bought this house, this multifamily. I'm living in it for say 2 years or whatnot. Would that technically fall under the line of, hey, you bought it to live in it, but then you're going to rent it out later, or you're currently renting out? I don't know. It was just kind of a thought, and
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, so that's why I brought up
yeah,
with Brandon yesterday. I wonder if the loophole there could be it's a build to lease option, right? So you're almost
right,
building it, and now the person's a lease option to buy at a certain point, right? So that could be the
right.
model that someone's going to implement now, right? So Hugo says $30, get paid each day of the month, have 5 kids, they each inherit $6 and get paid every day of the week. Set them up to win. Yeah.
There you go.
All Nighter Hider says I guess oh yeah, so he's part of Rebel Capitalist. So he's met Ken McElroy, met him a few times. And my buddy Josh Lazard works side by side with him and says he's got great character. Yeah. It's funny. Have you guys ever seen the picture of him? I don't know what, he could be a Ferrari or Lamborghini, but it says, what does it say? GPA 2.0 is his license plate or something like that. Yeah. So
Really?
yeah. Dave Ramsey helps the 90%. Zuber helps the top 10%, but both levels only work for those that apply. Very true, Josh. So if
I do
people don't
want to
know,
just touch on one thing.
yeah, go ahead, man.
I mean, Mark, I'm sure you heard about this, but there's a player in the NBA that scored 83 points last night, which is like second most all time.
Or
Bam.
if Coach Nick is still here, he's gonna flip a lid. He's gonna be furious. But go ahead,
Why
man.
is that?
He posted it on X. And I agree. The NBA is a joke already. I can't even watch it. But go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Well, kind of going back to the idea of like, am I going too fast or am I going too slow? And like, Bam Adebayo was like a 19 point a game person. If anybody was going to score 83 points, like you could pick 100 guys before him Like, why is it him? And again, he was probably the whole team was gunning for him. Once he started going, okay, let's get in the ball, get in the ball, get in the ball. Got a bunch of fouls, like 44 free throws in one game. Anyway, but it's just like, okay, that's completely out of his like mix of what he's typically known for. But he did it. He did it. Like he scored 83 points in one game. The right circumstances. On the flip side, like other guys could probably be scoring more points too, but like there's all these confines of the game and systems and game plans that you follow the game plan. But in theory, you could score more points. And so you just never know what's possible. And taking that leap and doing more, and which also inherently can put you into risk, but also forces you to figure out solutions, forces you to figure out ways to be able to solve more problems and heightens your level of problem solving. So I don't know, just I had to bring it up because that happened last night.
Yeah, like I said, the NBA is horrible already. It's such a I don't know, it's a joke, man. There's like no defense, and it's just it's a bad game already. I mean, that little period with Steph, that 3-pointer, Steph Curry, all that it was fun, but now it's just gone kind of overboard now. Like, you have everyone shooting. No one plays inside. There's no defense, and But Harrison, let's quickly talk about this property under contract with then. Before get into that a little bit. Where you at on that process and everything?
Sure. So contract accepted in there, and we are going through the scope inspection starting next week. And I mean, everything looks. I mean, the price was a fair price for a 2-1 single family, up to date, and it's one of those where it made me think of Moneyball when Joel's thinking about it. It's like, okay, saying first base. It's like this was a first base hit property, and am I mad at that? No. It's one of those like, hey, I'm here. If everything goes through, it's one of those that puts me in step for another one. And shout out to Craig in school. He was the one that really, because I won't lie to you, I found every way to hate this property. I was like, this is not right. I don't do single family. He's like, no. Listen, I was like, so.
See, you're talking yourself out.
I
So
know.
Craig, people don't know Craig's fairly new in school, but he's in Arizona, but he has a big portfolio in Pittsburgh. I always make fun of him now that he's the one that stole all the free stuff from the event. He has like 10 sweaters, and he has like 10 of the purple houses, I think. But anyways, he invested in Pittsburgh because that's the only place his wife would let him invest out of state. Arizona was getting too expensive. He presented her with like 3 or 4 different markets, I believe, out of state, and she felt most comfortable with Pittsburgh as the where he could invest. And he's killing it. I believe he has like 15 side-by-side duplexes and things like that. But
But I mean, and the great thing is that this is the power of SKOOL as well. Like, I want to thank you, Mark, for your help. Mikey, Jack. I mean, everyone who like isn't in that area, it's like knew it. They could tell me about, okay, you're making a solid hit here. So it's one of those things of, is it too much analysis process? But also is great talking, going back to Joel, like talking to people. It's the most important part of helping me and, the missus feel comfortable about this property. And, now she's got the bug too. She's like, we've been sleeping well with this property. I mean, it's one of those where the first one is like, I did not sleep. It was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be putting so much money to maybe make it work. And thankfully it's working. But this one is like, okay, I can kind of like walk to the next step. And I mean, with this, if everything works out, we could potentially get another one this year. And that's what's exciting. So it's one of those where, is it okay to move faster? And like all of you have been saying, it's like, well, depends. It's like, are you finding the right deal that would fit me and, cash flow? So no, thank you. I appreciate it today.
Lauren, update on you. Where are you at on your? I know you backed out at a 1031, right? Or whatever property you're under contract. So what's the newest with you on that?
Nothing really. I mean, basically my time period ended for my 1031, so I have to pay taxes. And so now I'm just taking my time to figure out exactly what I want to do and how much money I'll have to work with. But Joel, actually, I have a question for you because you changed companies.
Mhm.
Are you licensed in Florida? Because somebody messaged me this morning asking about a DSCR loan on an Airbnb.
Mhm.
You can do them there in Florida?
Yep.
Okay, I'll send them your number.
Cool.
Is that where you're you still have that property where we weren't invited to, right, Joel?
No, I
Right.
don't have it. It's sold.
Oh, you did? When did
Mhm.
you sell it?
Last year.
Oh, I thought like the last few times you're on, you're still saying you still had it, but that was
No, that was the land,
okay,
the land
okay,
development. Yeah.
all right. All right. Well, Joel, so yeah, like Lauren touched on, I don't know, was it your fifth company you've jumped over to, or what, you changed again? I have like 6 emails from you. I gotta figure out which is the correct one now.
Well,
But
let's just set the
so
record straight. I was with the one company for 7 years. So 2 changes in the last couple years.
Flavio has a personal message. He says, "When is Joel gonna have the massage girl on my channel or on your channel?" I don't know what he's talking about.
The massage girl.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
I think he's talking about the one when you and Lauren had the massage guy. That when you were talking about massages and stuff when that guy was on it.
Yeah.
He's from Africa, right? Was he from Africa or South Africa?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Harrison's
mean,
like,
he's
what
in
is
South
it?
Africa right now, so
Well,
Well, any final word? Like I said, if anyone is still watching, if you're in school, or actually if you're not in school, just and you want to jump on Wednesdays with, thanks for yawning, Lauren. But
Sorry.
if you if you want to jump on Wednesdays with us, let us know. We have about 4 weeks lined up though. So Hyder, you'll be joining us next week, and I think Hyder's going to bring his Bitcoin
damn.
talks with him because
Mm.
Brandon on Tuesday has been calling it the tulip coin, and it's Hyder's getting a little upset at that. So he's gonna want to come and bring his some information and just make more people aware of Bitcoin and maybe help people have a different perspective on it. Everyone loves Joel today. Lauren's feeding him a deal and not Monica. Ooh.
Monica's not licensed in Florida.
Oh, that's why.
She's only licensed in one state. She's only licensed in Idaho.
Oh, well, Joel, accidental landlord is asking, did you post your new contacts in school yet?
No, and you know what? I was going to ask you, Mark. Should I also post the like the videos from Vegas in school? Because
You do whatever you
Yeah.
want to do, man. I'm not in charge of it. You just post what you want, and if someone wants to take it down, they'll take it down.
okay.
But I would just post. I mean, people post a lot of their stuff. Yeah. So, like I said, we have about 4 weeks lined up. Cody Evers, who was in the chat today, he'll be on the following week after Hyder. We got Tom Taylor lined up. We got Chris Ramsey, he's in Arizona. Cody Albright. So we got about 5-6 weeks lined up.
Is Max going to come on? Max?
Matt, Joe V, you gotta get Joe V on.
Yasik?
People want Cameron on. Yeah, Yasik can come on and join us. But yeah, anyone, let me know. They said Wednesdays. I'll be back Friday with Emily Lopez. I'm not sure who else we're gonna have on. Saturday, I'll be here with Bitcoin Nick, and actually have another live stream on Saturday. I'll have Justin Canberra on and Sabrina Maples. She's out in Arizona. She's a realtor. She has her own school platform also, but she's also in Thatch's coaching program, I believe. So she knows Justin. But they'll be on
So
Saturday.
you're having the women on Saturday? Why don't we ever get women on Wednesday?
Well, we can. This was already lined up. I mean, I just had something with Sabrina on Sunday with Gus. That's why. So I told her if she wanted to come on a live stream. She actually has
What does she do?
She has like 50,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. Yeah,
Okay.
so she's, I forget where she's originally from. She's a realtor. She's a wholesaler, I think, flipper also. But she she relocated to like Washington for a little while because that's where everyone was. Like, you know, Thatch's community, there's a lot on that Pacific Northwest side. So she actually was up there. So she knows, like, Curtis has met her before, Justin Canberra knows her. And I think she's in Arizona, but she still does a lot of business in Washington. But yeah, go look up Sabrina Maples. She has a YouTube channel. She's on Instagram. Um, oh, Hugo, yeah, I'll let you know, Hugo. Some AI small business workflow. Charles is asking though, what would you do? 1,400 principal, interest, tax, insurance, 7 years to pay off. Rent is 1150. I could pull 50K out and start positive cash flow without any value add.
Sounds interesting.
Wait, rent is only $1,150 and the payment's $1,400?
That's what it looks like. What would you do?
Ooh.
1,400, 7 years to pay off. Rent is, I could pull 50K out and start positive cash flow without any value add.
That,
Could pull 50K out.
interesting. That's,
Yasser says suck
Well,
less.
well, I'm
Yeah.
curious. So so I guess what it seems like is the question is, should I just focus on paying it off, or should I pull out money to redeploy? And yeah, so I think that's the question there. So should I try to focus on paying it off, or should I? I mean, for me, I could care less about paying it off, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I would. I mean, especially if now it becomes a positive cash flow property,
Mm.
and I'm getting money at the table. I mean, that's the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
But as far as the paying it off, I don't think there's any concern to me at this point. How soon before Thatch leaves Washington? Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah. At some point, like they say, right? I mean, the wealthy are just mobile, right? And you know, they a lot of times, you know, look at Zuber. He just took off from but he still has his property in California, right? But I'm sure he spends just enough time in Vegas, right? For tax reasons.
Yep.
Zuber just mentioned Casey Brick by Brick just joined SKOOL. Let's see if she will come on the podcast. Yeah, Casey, she's been at all three events also. Yeah, I think she spoke year one, and then year two, year three, she's just been on the panels. And she has a big community also. And I don't know if she's she has a coaching program to, I guess, invest out of state. So she did have a video I saw. I didn't watch it yet, but it was talking about the 6 markets, I think, for 2026. So I'm not sure what markets she brought up, but I believe she's in Tennessee. So she was in California.
She's in Memphis, right?
Yeah, she's in Memphis. She was in California. I think she got her realtor license, all these things, cost of living. So anyways, they moved to Tennessee, and she started like an Etsy store. That was like her side hustle to build up the seed capital and start investing. And then she's kind of on that Dion method. I think she only has 8 doors, or 8 or 10 doors, but you know, 8 or 10 doors over whatever 10, 15 years, right? And now you know, financially free. What do you guys do? Surge R29, thanks for stopping by. I'm a firefighter, kind of. I'm on workers' comp right now, but I invest in real estate in Pittsburgh. I'm in Hawaii. I invest in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you guys want to give a quick recap for Surge. What do you guys do? I mean, Lauren, I don't even know what Lauren does actually. Really, she's just all over the place. She's a content creator now.
Yeah, I'm an influencer.
Joel's a lender, so if you're looking to purchase a property, primary investment, reach out to Joel. And Harrison is an investor also. AI guru. Can I call you an AI guru?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
Harrison's asked. I mean, Mikey's asking. Mikey finally got to wake up. Daylight savings has messed with him. He says this is 1 hour earlier for him now. So he's. But he says, would Harrison ever invest in Japan?
Sorry, I lost you for a second.
Yeah. Would you ever invest in Japan, Harrison?
Yes. So I, in November, spent almost a month in Japan, focusing the northern neck in Hokkaido. But I mean, when you see houses for like 50K, you're like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And then, I mean, I'm all for getting in ORAT, few properties in somewhere central Japan. That way we can kind of all either take the high speed rail or fly around.
Either of you thought of investing in Japan or another country? I know
No.
Lauren probably has. I'm sure.
I think that ship has probably sailed for me. Like, if I was going to invest, I should have done it in Bali like 10 years ago, when land was like $2,000 a hectare, and now it's like 200,000. But I mean, I for sure would. I would invest in like Italy or something. Like, I'd love to do a boutique hotel.
That's what I
in-
was saying. Oh, that like
in
just
Italy.
drop in, have some good pasta and wine, and drop out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or would you? So Dion's, the way he thinks about it is, right, I know the US, or I know my market, right? Why not double down where I'm at, make more money, make more income, so that I can just enjoy other places and travel, right? Instead of now trying to have to figure out a different market or figure out all these different laws or regulations in another country, right? So I don't know. That's the way Dion looks at it.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
so,
think that's very valid. Like, you will, if your goal is to make the most amount of money possible, you should stay focused on that one thing. But also, like, how fun to buy a boutique hotel in Italy. Sometimes it's about the story, you know what I mean? Like, the story of your life and what you do with your time. And I'm like, buying a boutique hotel in Italy and renovating it and meeting people and having that experience, like, you're getting a different integration into the community than you ever would just like showing up and traveling and being a visitor. So I think it's about like what you want out of the experience more than it is about the money. Like,
well,
if your goal is money, you should not invest somewhere else, probably.
well, it's not. I think it's not so much the money, right? It's more like, so let's say so boutique hotels are a little bit different because you might have multiple rooms, or right. So I mean, I guess so let's say you got a boutique hotel, right? Or let's say there was 4 rooms, and
Yeah.
now like you're saying, you're gonna go there and spend time. You've just taken one of your units off the market for, let's say, 2 months because you're gonna stay there, right? So you're losing that revenue, right? Whereas you double down in the US, you're making more money. Now you can travel anywhere. You can still go to Italy or whatever, spend 2 months, but you're just taking the cash flow that they're, from a property.
Yeah, but you're getting a totally different experience. One, if I'm investing in Italy, I'm not really concerned about my lifestyle at that point. Like, I don't know that I would do it at a point where I'm concerned about having enough money to be able to travel for 2 months in Italy. It would be more just like a fun adventure. Like, let me see if I can buy this thing and fix it up and like what that entails. But yeah, it certainly wouldn't be for like the money. Like, I completely agree. Dion's strategy, if you want to have more money to be able to travel, then investing in the market, is a way better strategy.
Flavia.
I do love San Miguel. I don't think I would invest there though, because I don't think I love it enough to. I think I'd rather be in Italy, but it's very close, and that's nice too. So, yeah.
All right. I don't want to bring up Yasik's message to me because we'll probably end up 10 minutes. Unless I'll just throw it out there and see what happens before we wrap it up. So I guess Lauren was talking about why no women come on Wednesdays.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yasik said, and I'm sure he's just joking. He says, tell Lauren they're busy in the kitchen during the week.
Yasik, why don't you get your little ass on this?
Oh, I want to see that.
Yasik,
Oh.
she just said you have a little ass.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think
That's
a lot of people,
because they're busy in the kitchen during the week because they're smarter and probably more successful than all the guys who have to go to work.
oh man. All right. Well, let's see here. This is a fun one. I said I think everyone likes Joel's idea of having a new school member on every week, so it's fun.
You know
But
what's
yeah,
funny, Mark?
what?
You know, the way that you implemented my great idea is the same way that I zipped out of Vegas. I just beeline from the line to the tower elevator.
It is, man. It is. You just disappeared every night. I have no idea
My
where you went.
ADHD medicine was like I was crashing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, Harrison, you'll be there next year for year 4.
Yep.
Joe V said, "Well, we got to get Joe V on here and talk about his new business he just started. He's got a web page going, everything." So, sounds like he talked to Joe this week. So he left his job that he was kind of a handyman at a property management company. So he's starting his own, going on his own. So that should be a cool journey to follow. But yeah, if anyone wants to jump on with us on Wednesdays, message me, let me know. We'll get you on. Probably won't be
Unless
for
your name
another.
is Yasik.
Okay, we'll get Jasik on then. I don't know about this Yasik fella, but we'll get Jasik on. But it probably won't be for another 5 weeks. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's always fun. And yeah, I'll see you folks on Friday.
See ya.
All right.